Hello everyone and welcome to Big Rock Moto. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you are newer and just getting into the wonderful world of adventure motorcycle riding, it can be really discouraging and intimidating when you go on social media and you see pictures and videos of people riding fully loaded BMW GS's, kitted out with all the latest high-end expensive riding gear. A lot of these setups you see can run in excess of $30,000 US once you buy the bike and all the gear and all the accessories. So today it's going to be really simple. I'm going to show you that you don't have to be rich to do adventure motorcycle riding. So everything you see right here in this image right now, from my full set of riding gear with a helmet that's not currently shown, the motorcycle, a brand new motorcycle, all the luggage, accessories, GPS, all the stuff you see, the bike protection, everything can be had for under $8,000 US. Now, couple disclaimers as always, full transparency. This is not my personal motorcycle. I don't own this. This is a loaner from Kawasaki. I did a full review on this KLR 650S, which I'll link somewhere here. So this will be going back to them in about a month once I take all the stuff off. The gear was supplied by different companies who send me gear to test. And at the conclusion of this series with this bike, I'll either be donating the gear to a rider who could really use it or giving it back to the companies who lent it to me in the first place. My other disclaimer is a lot of the products below in the links are going to be affiliate links, which means I earn a small percentage of those sales as affiliate income. But that's also my request. Please use my links when you're shopping for anything. It really helps make this channel financially sustainable and allows me to keep doing this, so thank you. So I'm going to have a document linked below in the pinned comment and a description where you can get a spreadsheet or a PDF with all of the information and the links to check out or purchase any of the parts and gear that I'm showing. So check that out. Let's start with the bike, just talk about that real quick. So this is a 2024 Kawasaki KLR 650S. And I know it's sad that a lot of some countries out there in the world don't get this bike, but it's been very popular here in the USA where I live. Now, the pricing on the bike, because some of you are going to call me out on that. The MSRP on this bike is somewhere around $6,500 or $7,000. However, if you go on Cycle Trader, if you go on dealers' websites, these bikes are on sale for anywhere between $4,000 to $6,000 as a sale price, which is a really good deal. And then you add tax depending on where you live. It is possible to get a brand new KLR 650 around $5,000. Why did I choose the KLR to do this little video here today? Well, mostly it's because this is the bike that I had available for testing to show you this. I also considered doing it with a Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 I have in the garage, but it just worked out better to do it with this bike. The KLR is comfortable. It's pretty good at touring. It can cruise at 75 miles an hour or around 120 kilometers an hour fairly comfortably. It hauls luggage really well. It has decent off-road capability. It's affordable, it's pretty reliable, and there's a great aftermarket for it available. Are there better adventure bikes? Yes, but the KLR kind of does everything at a really, really low price, and that's why people love it so much, and that's why I chose to feature it here. Now, there are plenty of other amazing motorcycles you could go with if you're getting into adventure or dual sport motorcycle riding. If you want to do more of an off-road type setup, get a DRZ 400, new or used. Get a DR 650 from Suzuki. You get a Honda XR 650. You could get a new Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. You could get the CF Moto 450 MT. You could get a KTM 390. You could set up a dual sport bike. There's so many good options for you. So don't think that I'm saying you have to get a KLR. It's just one option that's available. Also, I want to say that you can definitely do what I'm talking about, gear, bike, accessories, everything, for even less than $8,000 US. It's just that that's the number that I kind of got to when I looked at what you could get a brand new KLR for and all the stuff that I'm showing. If you buy a used motorcycle, buy cheaper or discounted gear or even used gear, and I'd recommend going on like the advrider.com flea market forum or Facebook Marketplace, you could do this for probably $4,000 or $5,000 for everything, maybe even less than that. It's kind of a good idea for a future video, honestly. But in today's video, I'm talking about this $8,000 price point. Why do I think that's interesting? Well, you know, I was thinking about, I have a specialized electric mountain bike in my shop here that I love riding. It's a Turbo Levo Specialized, and that bike cost $8,000. It's a mountain bike with electric assist. So I figured, could I buy everything here for the same price as one mountain bike? And that's what we've done. All right, let's start to break down how I set up this bike. How is this thing rigged out? So tires. Now the stock tires that come on some bikes and the KLR, they can be okay. And if you're on a budget, just run your stock tires, do the best you can with them. When they wear out, then consider what percentage of street and dirt you're doing and get a tire that's suitable for you and meets your budget. I chose to go with a setup here. It's a Tusk D-Sport rear tire. I really like the D-Sport as a rear tire. It's also extremely affordably priced. It performs great on and off road and has a long lifespan and a really good knobby tire. For the front tire, I don't know why I'm just not a fan of the D-Sport front tire. It just doesn't feel right to me on the bikes that I've tested, just being honest with you. So I went and I chose to go with a Moto's RAL Z front tire. But I'd recommend going probably with the dual venture because it has better manners on the freeway with the rain grooves. This will wobble in the rain grooves, whereas the dual venture doesn't really have that problem. So I'd go with that Moto's front tire. Other good front tires, Michelin, what is it? The Anarchy, not Adventure, Anarchy Wild. I like that one. The Bridgestone AX41, I like that. There's a lot of good choices for tires, for front tires there on a 21-inch bike. Should you get knobby or street type tires? It depends on how much off-roading you're doing. If you're going to encounter sand or mud or difficult terrain, you definitely want to have a knobby tire. If you're mostly on the road, then get something that's more street oriented, it's going to be quieter and give you a longer life. All right, crash protection. So if you're newer to adventure riding, you're going to drop your bike. It's just okay, it's normal, don't worry about it. Crash protection, so skid plate. This is an Enduro Engineering skid plate. These are Tusk crash bars to protect. The reason I have the reason you want crash bars typically is to protect your plastics on your body, your fairing. Also, it protects your gas tank and your radiator and just those vital parts from getting damaged when you do crash or fall down. The other thing I've got is Tusk D-Flex Adventure Pro handguards. They fit really well on here. These are very strong aluminum wraparound handguard. The reason I recommend a aluminum backbone handguard is because when you drop your bike or fall, or if you run into some brush or a tree, you're protecting your control levers, because try riding without a clutch or brake lever, it's pretty difficult. It also protects your hands from impacts. If you smack really hard into a tree or something like that, or if you fall down, it kind of can protect your hand from that impact. So I put metal wraparound handguards on all the bikes that I own and even test. All right, let's talk about the luggage that I chose for this setup. Now, there are a lot of great budget-minded luggage setups out there. I'd recommend you check out the Rig Gear and the Nelson Rig stuff. There's other companies as well. Tusk, I really like the Tusk stuff from Rocky Mountain as well. These are the Olympus panniers and Olympus tank bag. What about racks versus rackless? So rackless luggage has really been becoming more popular. That's where you don't have to have the metal pannier racks on the bike. The pros and cons briefly there. Rackless luggage is going to save you some weight. It's going to save you potentially some cost because you're not putting the metal racks on the bike. Downsides of a rackless luggage, they're more difficult to pack because you're packing like a tube instead of more of a rectangular shaped pannier. They don't hold as much. And they will rub against your bodywork and your exhaust and potentially cause issues there. The pros and cons of rack-mounted bags, these happen to be a quick release setup, which I'm a huge fan of. Easier, really fast and easy to get on and off the bike, easier to pack, they have more room, and for adventure riding, I gotta tell you, I'm really a fan of rack-mounted luggage just because I just find it more convenient, and I'll pay the small weight penalty. Also, by having the tubular pannier racks on the back of the bike, it kind of extends the subframe of your bike and makes it like a cage around the back that can help protect the exhaust and the rear of the bike from crashes and impacts. It also gives you some really good tie-down points and some points with this rack here to, you know, tug your bike out of a ditch if you fall over or lift it. It just, I do like having a pannier rack on my adventure bikes. It's really handy. Now, Tusk also makes the pilot bags, which are much more affordable than the Olympus. The Olympuses are larger. They have these external compartments built in. They have the quick release plates that come with it. They're made of better materials. I think it's worth the extra to spring for the Olympus. They're a couple $100 more. But if you're on a budget, get the Pilot, or another really good budget bag are the Rig Gear Hurricane bags. And I'll link some of this other stuff here below in the document as well. Now on the tank bag, I went with the Tusk Olympus. They make a smaller and a larger one. I think this is the smaller one. I love the Olympus tank bag. I always have, and I have a lot of tank bags, but they give you the place to put your gloves on the top, and then you've got some nice internal organizers. You've got the external pocket for like a tire gauge or whatever. Really, really nice. Love these tank bags. So let's briefly talk about navigation. So I've tested a lot of different navigation devices. I have a video on that. What I chose to do on this bike was use the Garmin Zumo XT2 mounted up on the included GPS mount that the KLR comes with. Should you just use your phone, or should you invest in a separate GPS? I think if you're going to do this a lot and really go into the backcountry, I think you should invest in a standalone dedicated GPS unit because of redundancy. If your phone breaks, or if you don't have the right signal, maybe you didn't download the maps, something goes wrong, you have that backup GPS. The GPS, its only job is to give you your navigation. You can load your tracks in there, and then your phone can be kept safely in your jacket pocket or in a bag or something charging. You don't have to have your phone on your handlebars. I do recommend that. I know it's an investment, but I think it's worth it. Phone mount, I use Quad Lock phone mounts exclusively. I'm not sponsored by them. I probably should be. Maybe that's something I should work on. But they've been great. Anti-vibration, you can get ones that charge. They make all different kinds of mounts. Highly recommend the Quad Lock phone mounts. I do sometimes want my phone on my handlebars, mostly when I'm on the highway, if I want to do music and calls and different things like that, messaging while I'm going down the road there. And it does connect into your headset, you know, if you use a Cardo or Sena or whatever, and your GPS unit as well. One thing I almost forgot, but I really want to mention this, is the foot pegs on your bike. So specific to the KLR, this is a hard mount foot peg conversion. With the Gen 3 KLR, they decided to rubber mount the foot pegs, which is good for reducing vibration, but it made the peg flex and feel very strange. So most people will get this upgrade kit. This is from Tusk, and it upgrades it to a hard solid mount so it's not flexing. But whether you have a KLR or any adventure bike, if your bike comes with a small foot peg or a rubber foot peg, there's a few reasons why you really should upgrade to a larger platform with a grippier surface. It's to do with safety and bike control. So whether you're sitting or standing, you need a wider platform to be able to put weight into the pegs and be secure to weight transfer on the bike when you're standing up, also for your comfort. And plus, in wet or muddy conditions, your boot will slip off a rubber peg, and it's very dangerous. So you need to have something with some good grip. These Tusk billet foot pegs are an amazing value at under $100 if they do fit your bike, depending on what particular bike you have. I'm a big fan of these, but there's also great options available from many different companies out there. One of the first upgrades I would do, and an essential upgrade to any adventure bike, is to get a good, large, grippy foot peg platform for your safety and for your comfort. All right, there's a few other things I have on here I want to mention. I replaced the factory mirrors with the Double Take Gen 2 Adventure mirror kits. The Gen 2 Double Take mirrors are really fantastic. They've a big improvement over the earlier Double Take mirrors. Why should you replace your stock mirrors? Well, the stock mirrors are a fixed mirror, and when you drop the bike, they can snap and break. These, if you fall, which you will in adventure riding, they bend, move around, and they're flexible. You can position them how you want. I'm not going to say indestructible because I have broken them. I've seen people break them, but they're pretty tough, and highly recommend Double Take mirrors. Don't get the knockoff ones you might see out there. Go with the Double Take Gen 2. They're really, really good. Another thing I have on this bike that I use on a lot of bikes that I test and bikes that I own are these Puig windshield extenders. You can see it here on the windshield. I've got that windshield mounted up in the high position. The KLR has an adjustment there. But the Puig spoiler, what that does is it really cleans up the airflow, reduces the buffeting, and you can also adjust the airflow to hit your helmet if you're hot or to go above your head if you want. It's $100 really well spent. I have a bunch of these in the garage. I put on different bikes. Highly recommend picking up that accessory, no matter what kind of bike you have. All right, so now let's get into the kind of complicated topic of the riding gear. So obviously I had this budget kind of set in mind when I'm making this video for this $8,000 budget. So I've chosen the things that I have. But to give you a broad overview, maybe if you're a little bit newer into adventure and dual sport riding, there's two main ways you can kind of go with riding gear for adventure gear. You can go with like more dirt bike or dual sport style, which is going to be separate armor gear, or you can go with what I'm wearing, the MSR Voyager, which is going to be an integrated armor suit. So the armor sits in pockets inside the jacket and pants. This also is a laminated or waterproof suit, so you don't have to carry extra rain layers. What are the pros and cons of integrated versus separate armor? I did a whole video about this, but just briefly, integrated armor is more convenient, right? And that's really it. It's more convenient, and when you take this jacket off, your armor comes off with it. Also, these kinds of suits tend to have better abrasion protection and are more designed for a potential sliding down the asphalt versus dirt bike gear, which is just going to shred if you have a slide on asphalt or pavement. The pros and cons of separate armor gear, like more dirt bike style gear, the armor tends to stay in place better in a fall. That gear tends to be better ventilated and wear cooler and be more modular. And the armor just tends to work a little bit better in the separate armor setups and gives you more choices for the armor. So that's kind of your basic pros and cons. Here's my general rule. If you're spending more than half the time on pavement, on the road, go with integrated armor gear like the suit I'm wearing. If you're spending more than half your time off-road, go with separate armor gear. That's my general guideline there. Let's talk about this Voyager suit. I did a full video on this when this came out. Actually, I really do like this suit. It's waterproof, pretty good vents. It's comfortable, it fits well, comes in some different colors. It's got good pockets, good storage. Rocky Mountain did a great job designing this. It's very affordable for what it is. I think the jacket's $250 and the pants are $200. So for around $450, you're getting a full suit that in reality is almost comparable to like a Climb Carlsbad suit in terms of function. What are the downsides of it? It's a kind of stiff and crunchy, and it kind of makes noise. It does break in over time. The armor is a little bit hard and inflexible sometimes. Those are pretty small downsides, I guess, but worth bringing up. You know, it is a budget set, but for a budget set, I really like it. Should you upgrade to the MSR Explorer gear? Yeah, probably. It has a better membrane, has the event membrane, better venting. It's more comfortable, more flexible, comes with better armor. Probably should, but this is really not bad for the money. Now, boots. I'm going to make a video on boots. These are the MSR Adventure boots. They're $200. Adventure boot versus dirt bike boot. A dirt bike boot, whether it's enduro or motocross, is going to have better protection, but be less comfortable, less walkable off the bike. An adventure boot like these, not as good a protection, but much better walkability and better comfort and mobility when you're off the bike, moving around. Waterproofing, these do have waterproofing, as a lot of adventure boots do. So you have to decide what trade-off you want to make. Do you want more comfort? Do you want more protection? But for an adventure riding boot, these MSR boots are pretty nice, and I like wearing them. They're super comfortable. For the helmet, I'm not showing it here because I let one of my friends borrow it. I should probably get another one, is the MSR Expedition helmet. I've tested it. I think I did it had it in a video a while back when it came out. I was really impressed with it around that sub $200 price point. There's other good budget dual sport helmets like the HJC. There's plenty of good choices there. Should you get a more expensive helmet like an Arai or a Shoei, you're getting more comfort, you're getting a quieter helmet, better construction, but is it really worth 4 times the price? Honestly, probably not. I wear Arais because they fit me, and Arai sponsors me and sends me gear, so I'm spoiled in that regard. But if I have to pay for my own stuff, I'm probably just using the MSR or an HJC or something more basic like that, or maybe a Bell. I want to cover base and mid layers briefly. Is it worth investing in mid layers and base layers specific to this sport? I think it is, and MSR make some really, really good stuff for the money, I'm telling you. So I'm wearing the MSR base layers, jacket and pant. Shirt, long sleeve shirt, and then pants. Base layers, what they do is they help manage the moisture and the heat and the cold. You don't want to wear something like cotton. You know, it's just going to soak there in water, and you're going to be cold, and it's just horrible. Wear a good moisture managing base layer. Merino wool, you can get into that stuff, gets kind of pricey. These MSR base layers do a great job for the price. Then I've got a mid layer, like a fleece, a full zip. I like a full zip because it's so much more convenient to take on and off. This is the MSR mid layer. It's basically the same thing as the Climb Inferno mid layer, which sells for twice the price. I really like these MSR jackets. I have a couple of them. They're really, you can even wear them nice off the bike. They look really good. So good mid-layer. You can get into heated clothing and stuff like that. That gets more money. If you're newer into this adventure stuff or motorcycling, just get a basic mid-layer like this MSR. It's going to work really, really well. Or any fleece sort of zip-up kind of, you know, soft shell jacket is going to work just fine. Going back to helmets for just a second, I wanted to mention, you know, should you use a street helmet, a flip-up helmet, a dirt bike helmet, or a dual sport helmet? I'm going to have to make a whole video on that for 2025 because things are kind of evolved a little bit. You know, a dirt bike helmet is going to be for goggles. It's going to be noisy. It's going to let all the wind through, but it's going to be the best ventilation. A dual sport helmet, you can usually wear goggles with it. Pretty good ventilation. You can flip up the visor. It's got the peak for blocking the sun, but they're still noisier than a street helmet. A street helmet's going to be quieter, better aerodynamics, but it's not going to work as well off-road because you can't wear goggles. A flip-up or modular helmet, yeah, I love those things, and I think that might be the best when you're actually traveling because you can flip that front up. But again, they don't really work with goggles, and that's kind of a big downside for off-road riding. Also, going back to the riding suit for just a minute, if you are in a hot and dry climate, like Arizona or somewhere like that, I don't think you should get this suit. If you get a waterproof suit for adventure riding, you're gonna be hot. When it's above 80 or 85 degrees Fahrenheit, and especially if you're going slower, like off-roading, or even sitting in traffic, a suit like this is gonna overheat you. It just, no matter, I don't care how good they say the vents are, you can't get airflow at the low speeds going through the vents, you're gonna get hot. And if it's not raining very often in the climate you live or ride in, why are you wearing a waterproof suit? This is better for cooler climates or for a winter setup or for wet climates, riding in wet weather. For warmer, those of you who live in the warmer climates, I'm going to recommend, I'll link below, a set from Revzilla. It's a Sidisi brand. It's very good. I've used it a lot. It's called the Marco 2. It's a full mesh suit, similar to this with the armor and the protection, but fully mesh. If you're in a warmer climate, get that instead of this because you can layer it with rain liners and things underneath to extend into cooler temperatures in the wet weather. But when you're hot, or when it's hot weather, you have that ventilation that you so desperately need, especially if you're going off-road at lower speeds above 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's my warning to you there in terms of recommending the Voyager suit. All right, well, for 8,000 bucks, we got a motorcycle, assuming you get a really good deal on it, or maybe have to buy it used if you can't find a deal on a new one. We got the luggage, we got the GPS, the accessories, we got a full set of riding gear, boots, pants, jacket, mid-layer, base layer, helmet. I didn't cover gloves because I didn't want this video to be too long. There's tons of gloves you can get. Everything for the price of my one Specialized mountain bike to go adventure riding. And honestly, I would take this setup. I don't have this bike for much longer, so I probably won't be able to do it, and I've got other projects, but I would take this bike on a traveling, on tour. I would take it off-road. I'd take it on a BDR. It's not the best thing ever, but it gets the job done. And all the gear I'm showing you gets the job done, and it fits the budget. You don't have to be rich to do adventure riding. And honestly, is it more enjoyable to do adventure riding with all the expensive bikes and expensive gear? In my honest opinion, it's not much better. I'm honest with you. I'm spoiled. I have the GS. I have the other riding gear that's more expensive. Yeah, sometimes it's more fun to have the power and the features, but there's also something to be said for keeping it simple, basic, and affordable. And you're going to have just as much fun and just as many adventures with this kind of setup as you would those $30,000 setups you see on social media, or you see when I'm out there riding. So anyway, I hope this has been useful. If you're new to adventure riding, or even if you're not new to it, questions, comments, put that below. Please use my affiliate links when you're buying anything. It really helps support the channel. Thanks to Kawasaki for lending me this bike. Thanks to Rocky Mountain ATVMC for hooking me up with so much of this gear, and Revzilla and other companies who help support this channel. And thank you all for watching. Ride safe. I'll see you out there.